I am an adamant, free thinking atheist, but if I were to introduce myself to you before telling you I was an atheist, I would say, well, yeah, I'm a political theorist. I'm maybe a former Catholic. I'm a runner, all this kind of stuff. And so what I'm trying to do in this video is bring very tangibly the consequences politically of Catholicism, Protestantism, and maybe introduce questions about the role of secularism in society into the future. And so France was one of the first countries to kick out the Catholic Church, which is very cool. A lot of stuff happening. Very, very sort of dangerous geopolitical position in Central Europe. And yeah, you had sort of the seeds of industrialization and stuff on the way, and they said, we got to get out. And the way this played out is the Catholic Church basically said, well, the papacy, even if you're going to, not recognize the Catholic Church, the papacy is still the supreme authority for Catholics for things like values. And this is actually a curious political move because if you're a smart person, you would see that what the Catholics are sort of saying is that, well, Catholics are still going to look to Rome. They're still going to look to the Holy See to see what's going on. But at the same time, we should expect that you're walking around France, you're thousands of miles away, you're going to be a French person. And so if people are going to not make it worse for the Catholic Church, this is a good way to do that. Get a magazine at the magazine stand, right? That's what your buddy Duck would tell you. Now, I want you, especially if you are secular or if you have any skepticism, I want you to look to the United States and see how Protestantism is very different. You have two prominent ideas in the United States. The first is the Protestant ethic, which basically says that, well, God defines property for us. God defines property, and God defines who ultimately is going to own it. And this actually competes with an idea called Calvinism, which says, well, God doesn't just define property in these sort of general traits of people who get rich, but if you are rich, that means God chose you to have money. And Calvinism and Protestantism really allowed Christianity to not be contained by an organization or an institution, but to run wild across the United States. Now, this isn't saying one of these ideas or, like one form of Christianity and politics is better or worse than the other. But it does bring to light, this idea that, we almost never escape the influence of the way people imagine their beliefs to impact the world.